we're out here. This is the field where the magic happens.
Benning Bites with Damon Benning. Benning Bites with Damon Benning.
Another episode of Benning Bites. It's game week, which we love. Great Monday show with Ravi Lua at Hurrdat Sports. You can catch us on AM 590. You can get us on Apple, Spotify, YouTube, Facebook, Twitch. I mean, we're all over the place. KFOR starting at 9 o'clock in the capital city. And, of course, ESPN Tri-Cities, one of our great radio partners. And it's a lot going on. And we got into some pretty spirited discussions. We talked to Bill Bender today and optics and the eye test and what we really think we know, right? This is on the heels of, last week, Minnesota, we thought, man, PJ Fleck, he has done a fantastic job, and he has. But they've gone to Rutgers, and they lose. And UCLA, who we tried to tell you for a week was better than the outcome, and Nebraska still had every opportunity to win that game. They beat Iowa in Westwood, and inexplicably a couple of fumble returns in the Oklahoma-Missouri game turns that game on its ear. Kansas with 2 wins hammers Iowa State at home. And, I don't know what you think of the Holy War, but, man, was that a mess where you truly throw records out the window. And I guess I say all of that to say, winning is hard. I've said this forever. And it's not rocket science. It's not novel. It's not like I'm telling you how to finally solve pi or something like that, right? 3.14 ... Not doing that. We understand winning is hard. But we sometimes sure don't appreciate it in the moment, regardless of how it looks. And I say that all on the heels of, man, if there's one thing that I want us to kind of invest in this week as we get ready to go to Southern California, is being on the same page with what we want this outcome to be. And that's to go on the road and get a win. It's not to play it close. It's not to be scared because we see that Vegas made the line 9 or whatever. UCLA has, USC has these type of receivers and they've gone to a running court or any of that, right? The thing about it is for a game like this where not a lot of people think you're going to win, it's not to give any credence to it. And that's from a fan base standpoint. Of course, you hope the coaches think like that, and certainly the players. But even in the media, man, like the whole notion of being okay with playing this thing close and moral victories, it's just not where I think we need to be. And we have to start to win some of these football games. And that's not to add pressure. It's a mindset where when you get on the road and you want to be the University of Nebraska and kind of slowly return this thing to national significance, that can't even be in the frontal lobe. It is every time you lace them up and you go take the field, you're going to win. And the cool thing is, in my opinion, when you talk about competitive stamina and competitive toughness, that's a lot of what this coaching staff is when they fully expect to go on the road and play well. And they have a little bit of a case study, right? You bounce back after Indiana to go on the road and play Ohio State tough in Columbus. You're coming off of what happened at UCLA at home, in which there actually were some positives, right? I know we didn't really look at it like that, whether it's the defensive adjustments made in the second half, the fact that the offense got it going in some key spots. You managed to generate a statistical yardage output. You got to be better in the red zone, right? I mean, you can't. Nebraska's a football team that gets to the opponent's 40-yard line 60% of the time. But they only get points out of those drives 57% of the time. That's that margin of if you keep getting there, you can get over the hump. That's what we need to be encouraged by, because those are things that tweaks in the bye week or a different set of eyes, or however you want to look at what Nebraska is trying to do behind the scenes to get better for these last 3 games. I think that's exactly how we've got to think as a fan base and treat it in the media. And listen, I'm not a huge tell you how to fan or tell you how to do media, but I will say this, that I do believe that there's power in thought process. And I think if Nebraska's shown us anything about being inconsistent, is that anything's possible. And so is going to Southern Cal and playing well. It's another episode of Benning Bites.
A Hurrdat Sports Network production.